Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Parashat Ekev. There's no way simpler to say that. But this week is 11 months since the 7th of October. On this week, on the Hebrew calendar, we will finish the year of mourning. In Judaism, there are 11 months of mourning, which are this week. Yes, 11 months from the horrific attack. In this week portion, the elements and the prophecies that we receive talk exactly about the hard time the people of Israel will have, and the redemption when times are going to be bad, when times are going to be better. It's almost a routine that they will have bad times and good times, and they will need to pray and they need to repent, and they will be returned. And the word that's being used there, and I want to talk about, is being stiff-necked, kshe oref. The nation of Israel, Moses says, I've liberated you from Egypt, not because you're so righteous, but because you're stiff-necked. You are stubborn. Truthfully, when you think about the people of Israel in that context, it's very negative. This is why they tend to be a sinner in the Exodus and in the desert. They complain. Being stiff-hearted is not a good thing. But of course, there's the very essence of what it means, the deep insight of maybe the secret of the people of Israel. You know, we've been doing this dialogue of weekly portions, and we always tend to talk about what the text says. I want to look backwards a bit and talk about the bigger picture of the story of what we're doing here, bringing ourselves back to Israel in the redemption of God's prophecies coming true. That is the secret of being stiff-hearted. Every other nation, every other culture, every other group of people, after everything we went through, we're going through, should have decided to say, maybe we need a different path, a different way. Imagine yourself living in history and seeing history as a perspective of a Jew. Every time in history, every place, there are bad things that happen there, anti-Semitism there, attack here, pogrom there. It's an ongoing procedure that comes back into the very, very basic notion that if you had some logic in yourself, you would have lived, you would have decided differently. But this is the people of Israel. They're stiff-hearted. Their stiff-neck is meaning that even in the hardest time, even when it's really against the odds, they will continue to fight. They will continue to strive. They will develop again and again. The famous saying by Reb Samson Raphael Hirsch, lived hundreds of years ago in Germany, talked about the verses that talk about this redemption, and they talk about being stiff-hearted, and he also reminds us about the story of the three generations, and he explains this in a very simple way. The first redemption, the first generation that saw the miracles of coming back to the land, and again, he said it like 150 years ago, the first generations of the people that are the pioneers, their connection to the land, their connection to the soil is so strong. They are waking up in the morning with like, wow, we're so amazed, we're so happy that we're back here. The second generation already comes in a perspective that says, I'm pretty used to what happens here, and still I hear my parents talking a lot about what happened before, how it was bad then. When the third generations arrive, they are in a different perspective because they don't know any misery. They don't know what was before. They don't know how much we suffered. They come to this new situation. They are already in question asking, are we supposed to be here? The third generation, this is exactly what the people of Israel are going through now. After 75 years, we are now asking those big questions. And the big challenges that happened to the third generations are what we can see today in Israel, from inside and from outside. The prophet Zechariah in chapter 12, verses 9 to 12, talks about this prophecy about the ends of time when the people of Israel will win over the wars against the enemies. And this is something that we're going through right now. We're still not winning all the way, but you see big wars coming. And then the verse that uses after all these things are that then there's going to become a big spirit of grace and a lot of mourning. Big mourn that is going to be heard all over. It's interesting. After the big victory, there's going to be a lot of mourning. And this is the secret. To be in a place that you can live life fighting against what happens against you and still be stiff-necked to continue and to fight, you are losing something in the process. You are not crying enough. As I said, every situation that the Jewish people went through and all the suffering, you would think that people will stop completely. We cannot continue anymore. The secret that Zechariah says is that the big mourning is going to come after all the victories, because right now we are fighting. Right now, and in every generation, when people had the memory of what they went through and they had to continue, if they would stop life and mourn, if they would stop life and be sad, how they would continue to the next step. If you're an Holocaust survivor and you completed everything that happened in the Holocaust, truly you have no other possibility but to stay in bed all your life and be dwelling and mourn. But you saw people that stood up and continued. This gap, this lack of mourning period, enough mourning period will come in the future, when we'll need to reflect and think about everything we went through. The verses that talks about changing the heart to the heart of flesh is exactly this, opening the heart to the understanding of everything we went through, everything we suffered in the process. Being stiff-hearted has a lot of price into it. We know in Israel, you saw it today, we're very tough. There's a lot of chutzpah in the air. People are in survival mode. How can you act differently? From the pain of the 7th of October, as you know, I always share that because we're still feeling that we are the day after, an 11-month past. Every community, every place in Israel are still losing people as we speak. Fallen soldiers, memories of loved ones that lost their lives. But we cannot stop. We have an obligation to continue to fight. We have an obligation to continue to live. And this week portion, this title that Moses gives us, being stiff-necked, is nothing less than a positive contribution we have. We can still continue to fight, and we'll be stubborn, and we will continue to grow and build ourselves step by step. We remember the loved ones. We remember the people we lost. We remember, and our hearts are broken, but we continue to live and to grow and to fight for our existence. Day will come when great mourning will come. After we will fight against all our enemies and the redemption will come in its full project. Then we will have time to heal the pain of all the sorrows that we went through. But until that day, we need to fight. Shabbat Shalom. And I wish that these words are going to be in the merit of all the heroes and all the people of Israel that lost their life in this most difficult year. And only blessing is going to come from now on.